Okay, so at the the end of 2015, I decided to train for the upcoming spring's Buffalo Marathon. But as many as you may know, running can be really dull. And I was looking for a challenge. It's hard to run in the winter, so I needed some way to keep myself motivated. And what I came up with was the idea of running the full length of all 700-mile streets in the city of Buffalo. And to make it more interesting, actually, I decided that I would run everything but the Buffalo Marathon course. So the day of the marathon, when I crossed the finish line, not only would I finish the marathon, but I actually finish the whole challenge at the same time. And so I tracked everything using a GPS watch and the heat map feature that is commonly found in most running apps today. I was able to easily see, what streets I've done and, what streets I still had to do. And so, as you can see, this is my completed Buffalo heat map for running everything. A lot of times, you're basically all the blue lines indicate where I've ran and therefore indicate a street. And basically, there's a lot of runs where I'm basically going up and down and up and down, kind of like what Pac-Man would do. I felt like you and Pac-Man at times. So, basically, it all began on January 1st. It was snowy, it was cold, it was chilly, it was slippery too. And basically, I kind of looked like this. I went out looking like this, and about 2 miles in, I encountered basically what would be the creative driving force and main motivation of this challenge. And if you know me, then you know it's photos. That's photos like this. I find inspiration in the sunlight, the snow, the reflection off the ground, off the pavement, the wet pavement, and this random tree branch that decided they wanted to grow from one side of the street to the other. I don't know, maybe I have a weird sense of humor, but that's what was intriguing, and I was interested to see what else am I going to see in the next 5 months, because I had to get a good quick start. It was 5 months long, and I didn't know how many miles the dead-end streets, the duplication, and what's the inefficiency of this plan? It's really inefficient. So photos became my motivation, because as you know, running in a snowstorm is not fun. Neither is running in cold temps or blustery winds. And so Buffalo is known for its architecture, right? But what really interested me was people's personalities coming out in their homes. It didn't matter if it was good, bad, ugly, or pretty. I was really drawn to homes that were underappreciated, hardly noticed, and maybe mostly forgotten. This house is actually gone now. But each run showed me that there was something out there. In fact, each street had something that was inspiring. And one of the most interesting things was actually like Buffalo's love of cars, especially like in the middle of winter. I was pretty surprised to see that, like this mean muscle car, or classic trucks, or even like this foreign sports car that is now this is just a parts car according to the guy that works at the restaurant there. And there was even like one poor guy whose car had met a very fiery demise. So with running or with exploring and photos became my motivation. The comedic relief was provided by all the weirdness out there. And no doubt the weirdest thing I saw was this stuff. Dummies designed to kind of scare people off, right? Ward off possible intruders. Kind of weird, right? But, this isn't just a one-off instance. Like, this one's in the first ward. This one's in South Buffalo. And up until recently, I found that there's actually a few more, and there's actually 2 in Parkside. So this is not just limited to this area, to one incident. So when I tell people about what I was doing, the first question people always ask is, aren't you afraid to run in some of these neighborhoods? And I was like, well, okay, yeah, fear is contagious. Fear, I was no doubt fearful of what you see on TV and in the news and in the movies. So I came up with these guidelines. And these guidelines were designed, they're basically run early in the morning and in the coldest weather. Anybody up at that time probably wouldn't have a problem with me, or they're just trying to stay warm themselves. The thing is, though, you do this, you're still going to encounter people. And no matter what, you're always going to see people. So what do? You have two options. First, you could run, put a wall up, don't talk to anyone, just head down and go. But that sort of misses the point why I'm out there. I'm exploring, right? So that's the negative way. The positive way is to smile, to wave, and say hello. And that's what I chose. And I did this regardless of neighborhood, race, gender, whatever, age, didn't matter. I did this for everyone. And what I discovered was that 99% of people mirrored the exact same friendliness that I got. So it was kind of powerful in a sense. Like, this new positivity was really disarming. What was originally like a fear of encounters actually realized became a chance to communicate with people that I didn't know, didn't live near, and actually I really don't have too many opportunities to actually speak to them. These people could be like, walking to the grocery store and they actually sing me a song. They could be leaning out the second floor window of their house. They could be young entrepreneurs, and they're actually on the second floor roof of a building that they're trying to buy. Maybe they're a guy that saw me on the news when the local news station did a story about me. This person recognized me running and stopped his car to talk to me for 10 minutes, even though he was still in the middle of the street. Cars just drove around him. He didn't care. He told me where he grew up and where he lived now. That was amazing. The two questions they always ask is, aren't you cold? Being a runner, I must have looked like I was so underdressed, but I wasn't. And the other question is, what are you doing running in this neighborhood? A lot of these neighborhoods don't have people running, and my friendliness allowed them to ask me these questions, and we were able to bond that way. So remember the guidelines I was talking about, how I run in the early mornings and in the coldest weather? Well, in early May, I decided I had to totally throw those guidelines out the window. I ran in the late afternoon and basically the first warm day of the year in a neighborhood that, a lot of people would be nervous about. And what I experienced was the realization that my guidelines are probably wrong. And I missed out on the opportunities because of talking to all these people, because I had the single best run of the whole time I ran. And what happened was, I realized this neighborhood was no different than the neighborhood that I lived in, that I grew up in, and the neighborhoods that you probably all live in. Everyone wants the same thing. We all want to be able to, live our lives, not be bothered. We want to be able to raise our kids, go to work, and just have fun. And this was no different. And so that was pretty surprising to see. So now I want you to think about this. Think about your personal heat map, right? You saw my image earlier. What does your personal heat map look like? Where did you go today? Where did you go in the last week, or maybe the last month? Or what about all of this year? Did you travel in new routes? Did you see new things? Did you go new places? Did your map fill in like this? This is all my runs compiled, right? So I want you to think, do you stop seeing things because you drive the same way to work? You just or maybe to school, you just kind of block out and you don't really take anything because you know the easiest, simplest way. You just blank out. My takeaway, my challenge to you is to fill in your personal heat map. Go a new route, take a new way, search out something new. Go to that street that's a mile away from you that you've never been down. And when you do it with a smile, a wave, and make sure you say hello. Thank you.